We are wrapping up the end of 2023, and there are some major changes coming. And as we look to the end of the year, because of these changes, Tesla is about to lose qualification for tax credits. And that means a couple of different things, actually. It actually is good news for some people who are in the market right now, but it's probably some bad news for those who are not quite ready to purchase. Now, depending on how you look at this could be a win, this could be a loss. However, I've been watching this very closely throughout the month of December, and today I'm going to show you why it may or may not be the right time to pull the trigger here as we wrap up the last few days of 2023. We've also got some updates from fueleconomy.gov or the IRS on qualification for these tax credits, and we can take a look at all of this today. I'm going to dive in really deep today, so if you are into the details, want to know the specifics and the numbers, make sure to stick around to the end of this video. Looking over at the existing inventory right now, what you're looking at here is first the base price of all 6 of these trims. So we have Model 3 and Model Y, all 3 trims of each. And when I look at my inventory, these are the best prices available right now, excluding demo models. So these are brand new cars that are available with a discount on them. And as we look across, we're talking $3,500 to almost $5,000 on Model 3, and over on the Model Y, as low as $1,600 and as high as $5,000. Now, I do want to point out this Model Y here, I had to search all the way out to Denver, Colorado to actually find a performance Model Y. In fact, there were only 2 demo models within something like 5, 6, 700 miles of my house. There were no new inventory vehicles between here and there. So pretty much all the Model Y performances are gone for 2023. And then finally, I also put an asterisk here. So for the long range Model 3 that you're looking at here with a $4,850 discount, this one is configured at $48,490. Giving you that total discount. And the same is the case here for this $5,000 off of the Model Y, but it gives you an idea of what type of discounts we're looking at for each of these trims. Now, the reason that's important is because when we add in the tax credit, our effective prices are as low as $27,600 for a Model 3 and as high as $44,390 for a Model Y Performance. Now, this tax credit's important because as we go into next year, this is going to change based on qualification of the vehicle, but also your own personal qualification. So this $7,500 is not realized until you file your taxes sometime in April of 2024 for the 2023 year. So this is not at time of purchase, at least until January 1st. But more on that here in just a moment. So going back here, I want to compare this to just 15 days ago. I was looking at these prices and looking at the discounts that were available at that time, and here's where we landed. If we look at this over the last roughly 11 days or so, we've had an increase in discount on the long range Model 3. The Performance, about $1,000 less discount. The Model Y rear wheel drive, about $500 less discount. $1,570 more on the long range Model Y, and $2,000 less discount on the Model Y Performance. And this is kind of important because as we look, we can kind of see pricing trends, and that's what's mostly important. So we can see some decent discounts here on the long range Model 3 and a slightly bigger discount on the long range all-wheel drive, but essentially everything else is higher priced today than it was 11 days ago. So as we're waiting for the end of the year to figure out what is pricing going to do, this is kind of giving us those telltale signs of what to expect as we close out the last days of 2023. Looking at this another way, we can go to teslainfo.com and check out inventory as a whole. Now, this is all for models, the SX3 and Y, but just looking at the YM3, we can see some pretty steep reductions in inventory over this last month. And here specifically on the Model 3, surprisingly, in my opinion, has really dropped down in volume. The Model Y, of course, also has come down quite a bit. This is about December 15th right here. So pretty big reduction. And as we look at total inventory here in North America, we can see some pretty steep reductions in total inventory over the last 11 days. As a matter of fact, close to 60% in Model 3 inventory and almost 50% in Model Y inventory. So these are pretty big reductions in total inventory, which also helps to point and support why discounts are kind of decreasing on the whole. So this is additional demand. This is also probably Tesla reallocating inventory as we close out the end of the year, maybe changing production schedule, things like that. So reduction in inventory is expected as we close out the year. As a matter of fact, Tesla would like to see this as close to zero as possible once we hit the end of the year. Now, if you want to custom order a new Model 3 or Model Y, you are not going to get it this year. So January is listed for all trims of Model 3, all trims of Model Y. So those are gone for the year. You cannot get this. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because what this does is change the timing of when you get this tax credit. So rather than getting this tax credit at time of filing your taxes, which we can see here represented on the right, we would get this at time of purchase, which we can see represented on the left. As a matter of fact, what we see here is this $7,500, although it doesn't reduce any taxes you pay or fees, it does bring down the amount of money that you're going to finance. So you would be financing $61,920 in this particular example versus $69,420 if you didn't have the tax credit time of purchase. So what does that mean? Well, based on Tesla's advertised interest rate for really good credit, whatever, at 72 months, we would be seeing a payment difference of about $127. And looking at this even further, we would be financing quite a bit less money. As a matter of fact, $7,500 less would be financed. And what that means is a $9,000 reduction in total cost of this loan. Now, of course, this $7,500 is applied at time of purchase. You're still going to, if you qualify, see the $7,500 time you filing your taxes. So really, this means $1,626 in additional savings just in interest that you will not have to pay by having purchased this vehicle at time of purchase with $7,500 tax credit. So there's absolutely some pretty big wins here to be had for having the $7,500 at time of purchase, which starts January 1st, or only a few days from today. Okay, so we're over here on fueleconomy.gov's website, and this is where you go to find out if my vehicle qualifies. Now, finally, January 1st, 2024 does show up on this list, which it hadn't previously, but to show you what this looks like, if you purchased a vehicle April 18th through the end of this year, these are the vehicles that qualify, and it tells you how much of that tax credit each one qualifies for. Now, unfortunately, when you go to January 1st, there are no vehicles listed yet. So we're still waiting on that, and it's a little strange that it's still not available given how close we are to January 1st. So just be aware there could be some delays here. Like, we could be in January and still not have this list. So that is definitely a risk on vehicles like the Model 3, which is expected to lose the tax credit starting January 1st. The Model 3 rear-wheel drive, the Model 3 long range are both expected to lose not just the $7,500, but also partial credit. It will have zero tax credits starting January 1st, at least according to Tesla's guidance that we just recently received. So if you go into Tesla's website and look at the Model 3, it says pretty clearly here that the credit will no longer be available for the rear-wheel drive and long-range Model 3 after December 31st. And previously, they had talked about it reducing its qualified tax credit. So this language has changed for the Model 3, and it looks like these vehicles will not get that tax credit. And it's not a surprise given the rear-wheel drive Model 3 gets an LFP battery from CATL, which is in China, and I believe the long-range Model 3 gets its battery pack from Samsung. So there's some changes here that are going to impact Model 3 purchases starting January 1st. So here's the deal. If you are going to be buying a Model 3 rear-wheel drive or long-range, you might want to pull the trigger in the next 5 days, because those are going to lose tax credits. So even if you only have tax liability for part of that credit is better than nothing. Otherwise, you're going to hold off until Project Highland, which makes the most sense, or the refresh Model 3, and pay full price, essentially. That is the situation you're in. If you're waiting for the Model Y, just wait till January. Get that $7,500 at time of purchase, which would be pretty awesome. Now, do understand, because of these tax credits becoming time of purchase, it is going to be a little bit of a ramp, but I believe consumers are going to start understanding how these tax credits work and how they get it at time of purchase. This should, in theory, substantially increase demand for not just Teslas, but other vehicles that qualify for tax credits. So if you're wanting to get a new electric vehicle that qualifies for tax credits, just know you and everybody else is going to want them also. So with that, I hope that this was helpful. I hope this was insightful. I thank you for joining today. And I can't wait to catch you on the next one. About $127. And looking at this even further, we would be financing quite a bit less money. As a matter of fact, $7,500 less would be financed. And what that means is a $9,000 reduction in total cost of this loan. Now, of course, this $7,500 is applied at time of purchase. You're still going to, if you qualify, see the $7,500 time you filing your taxes. So really, this means $1,626 in additional savings just in interest that you will not have to pay by having purchased this vehicle at time of purchase with $7,500 tax credit. So there's absolutely some pretty big wins here to be had for having the $7,500 at time of purchase, which starts January 1st or only a few days from today.